science behind it. And of course, there's a lot going on. There's a little bit of a roller coaster and a big weekend forecast coming up as we head into the Labor Day weekend. So I'm going to hand it off to Holly now to take a look at our regional outlook.
Oh, yeah, I know everyone's wanting to know, what can I expect for a Labor Day weekend? Is it going to be warm enough? Is it going to be cold, just like what we're feeling right now, or cooler, I should say, because it actually feels really good outdoors. So not quite cold yet, but a little chilly, especially in the morning time. But we're taking a look at our dew points right now. Dew points across the Midwest. Now, we're steadily declining with our dew points today. So temperatures will at least warm up a little bit more, but dew points are going to be lowering. We'll get to at least the lower to mid 40s throughout the rest of today. So that is also what's going to help us have that fall crisp. Now, I like to call this fake fall because we're going to obviously warm up some more time in between now and really once we dive into fall, we'll have another 80-degree day, I'm assuming. So we look at dew points right now, though, in the 40s across the region. Some areas at least in the 50s there, so 56 or 51 in Kansas City, 49 in St. Louis, and then 48 in Chicago, 48 as well here in Milwaukee, and they will continue to drop again. So maybe around, give or take, 45 degrees is what we can expect with our dew points. Now, temperatures on the other hand, when we compare those temperatures, at least over the last 24 hours, at least half of the entire state is a little bit cooler, maybe a touch cooler than what we were yesterday. So we're about 1 degree cooler here in Milwaukee, 3 degrees cooler in Madison, but we're looking to be warmer in some other places too. So Duluth is at about 6 degrees warmer right now. And then there's really no change if you look at least in Eau Claire, but then there's a 2-degree change where we're warmer at least by 2 degrees in Rhinelander currently. So we got a mix of everything really across the entire state. Looks like the warmer temperatures today right now are in the northern portions of our state. Now we look at that forecast as we go throughout the rest of today as far as highs and how much more we'll warm up. Well, we're currently in the 60s, lower 60s. We'll get to 68 for Milwaukee, 67 for Madison. Out west, though, you see in La Crosse there, they're going to warm up to near the 70s. So they're looking to be the only people in the 70s today for our state of Wisconsin here. But we see a lot of other areas that will at least get to the mid to upper 60s today. So today's going to feel really just like fall. We're going to be warming up, but we'll warm up even more, especially as we head throughout the rest of the week. Now, here is a look at that high temperature trend. So you see a little bit of a roller coaster there. That is exactly what Rob is talking about with temperatures. So we kind of go up to the mid 70s by Wednesday, but then we go back down to the lower 70s by the time we head into Labor Day weekend. So Labor Day weekend is actually looking to be nice and comfortable. So this is the time where you really want to grill outdoors. You'll be able to enjoy it without being super duper hot. And then our dew points will stay on the lower side. So it's going to be perfect weather to get out, maybe even play some volleyball, badminton, even pickleball. This is the perfect weather for that because we're going to stay in the 70s nice and comfortable with those dew points trending on the lower end. Now we take a look at our satellite and radar across the entire nation. Now we're the lucky people here, at least across the Midwest. Everybody is overall pretty dry. However, we look over near Oklahoma, in that area, they have a low pressure, so they're dealing with a little bit more of that rain. But I know you noticed how cool we were today. Well, it's not just our area that's dealing with these cooler temperatures. A lot of areas across the South as well are actually, they're definitely below their average when it comes to those high temperatures because of this cold front here. This cold front is pretty much passed from our area all the way down southward, and that's cooling off all of those southern states there. But then you have some areas like at least in the Northeast, they're still dealing with a little bit more of that rain, and then Oklahoma City with a little bit of rain. But everybody else, we're looking to be nice and dry, at least for the next couple of days. This is just a closer look at least the state of Wisconsin, and you see that we're all pretty dry. Now let's take a look at our Sky Vision Plus and planning ahead. We will stay dry at least for another day or so. So throughout the rest of today, we'll be dry across the state. Tuesday is going to be dry really across the state, but then we'll have more clouds that would possibly move in for our Tuesday's forecast. Now, we do have more of those changes to come, especially as we head into Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon and evening, that's when we'll start to have more of that rain, at least northerly in Marquette there. This is around 11:30. They could see a little bit of rain. And then as we go throughout the afternoon, we'll start to see a little bit more of those scattered showers. And that's even too in the evening. And this will continue even as we head into Thursday's forecast. So waking up Thursday morning, we're definitely going to be dealing with even more of that rain in the area. And then the only thing we have to worry about for today in the forecast is the water spout. So this is how the water spouts form. We have all of the proper ingredients. We have the warm water from Lake Michigan, as you see here. We have the cooler air, which is pretty obvious stepping outdoors, the cooler air from the north coming in, and then we have converging winds. So that means converging meaning coming together. So we have a northwesterly flow of our winds, and on the other side of the lake, we have a northeasterly flow. And when those come together, it creates this rotation within Lake Michigan, and then that is how we get our water spouts. And we're going to see this to be more common, especially as we head into September, because that is pretty much water spout prime month, if you will. But today, we're definitely going to be on a watch for it, as well as even throughout the rest of this week, we'll be on a watch for those water spouts. So definitely just keep that in mind today. But overall, it's going to be a beautiful day for us, and we're going to be tracking more sunshine today and tomorrow, Rob. So it's going to be really nice weather for us, and I can't wait for us to really, indulge in that. We get off early enough where we could enjoy at least an afternoon run or something
Quick
with the weather
nap
being
and then
nice.
get out there and enjoy it. And yeah, keep an eye on the lake, and if you spot any of those water spouts, obviously don't put yourself in harm's way, but feel free to share some of those pictures. Now, before we go to our break here, I want to take you out to Burning Man. Have you been to Burning Man? No, me either. It does sound like quite the party, but Burning Man had a different kind of party this time around. Started off with a dust storm, leaving multiple people injured. Look at this video. That's awful. So the annual week-long event happens in Nevada's Black Rock Desert. People showcase their art, their music, their culture. It's a week-long, just kind of throw off society and do what you do kind of thing. And the dust blew in with more than 45-mile-an-hour wind on Saturday night. Officials say 4 people had some minor injuries. Attendees are cleaning up in hopes of continuing the festival. It does run through September 1st. That is just dramatic video.
Yeah, it looks like apocalypse or something out there.
It really does. Yeah, it looks like, Dune or something like that. All right, well, we'll think about those folks, and hopefully the festival gets back on track. We'll be back on track in just 2 minutes on the dot. Stick around. Look at that beautiful picture of the hallowed grounds of Lambeau Field.
Welcome back. Welcome back if you're tuning in from the Fox Local app or even our YouTube. We have more to get to, and one thing for sure is still hurricane season, and looks like the tropics are heating up. But we got something to look back on.
Starting to pick up, of course, here and now, but we want to take you back in time because this is a very busy week for hurricane anniversaries. In fact, it was today in 2017 that Texas was taking cover as Hurricane Harvey approached. This is a stunning shot from the International Space Station showing the massive hurricane Harvey, again back in 2017, barreling toward the Texas coast. This is Hurricane Harvey making landfall near Corpus Christi, Texas, and then of course proceeding to leave much of the Houston area underwater, as you can tell from this file video from back in the day. Thousands had to be rescued in Houston, and more were stuck in their homes, on their rooftops, waiting for help. Tens of thousands of people needed to evacuate. More than 5 feet of rain fell in some areas, causing catastrophic flooding. Over 100 lives were lost, tens of thousands were displaced, and damages soared to $125 billion. The name Harvey was then retired from the hurricane list forever.
Yeah, I mean, we stay on that topic too, and we look back 20 years from now. So we look at the most devastating storm. I remember this because I was in the South when all this happened.
Sure,
I was in the 5th grade when this happened. This is 20 years ago, though. Tropical storm Katrina strengthened into a hurricane and started making its way to the United States. It officially made landfall in the United States on August 29th, quickly becoming one of the most destructive storms in the history of our country. The hurricane displaced hundreds of thousands of residents, and communities struggled for years. Many people from Arizona were deployed to help with the relief, including retired fire captain Darrell Wiseman. Even today, some survivors of Katrina have moved to Arizona, carrying memory of hurricane and its impacts. Now we look at Jaquil Ross is now an educator for New Orleans, and after dealing with the tragedies of Hurricane Katrina, he's using his experiences in the classroom.
I'm blessed that we were fortunate enough to evacuate other people. You know, not everybody was, but it definitely taught me a lot at a young age, and I went to 4 schools in that one school year.
But he's not alone. Many others were just kids when the storm hit, having to experience the stress of evacuating, following with the hardships of returning to widespread devastation.
So that experience has most certainly shaped how I view teaching, especially in terms of empathy for students and what they're going through. I always think of what would the teachers do that were there for me during Katrina in these moments, and then I try to replicate that.
And Katrina is the costliest hurricane to ever hit the United States. Now, there were around $108 billion in damage, according to the weather.gov site. So, I feel like they're still recovering from it as well.
Sure.
Like, you can go and visit there. You'll still see water lines on buildings.
Yeah, and that 108 is, directly associated with the storm, and then you've got all of the ripple effects of that incredible damage. And years later, people like yourself who were younger when it hit, impacted by that, and now taking it into the classroom, which is a wonderful positive side story there. We've got a positive day today overall. We'll be back to wrap up this edition of Wisconsin Weather Experts in just 2 minutes. Wisconsin weather experts back on Fox Local.
All right, yeah, so let's just take one more story here. It is a once lost shipwreck has been found more than 130 years ago after sinking off the coast of Door County. Now, the Frank D. Barker vessel was located last month by a local boater and business owner. So our Fox Tony Langfellow shows us the incredible discovery.
The year was 1887 when the Frank D. Barker sunk in Lake Michigan after it set sail from Manistee, Michigan. It wasn't until 138 years later when boater and owner of Door County Adventure Rafting Matt Olson discovered the missing vessel.
I was looking on satellite images, of the waters around the peninsula here, and I happened to come across this sort of anomaly in the water, this object that I thought maybe could be a shipwreck, maybe it's not.
Olson took his boat out to Raleigh's Bay to investigate, and his gut was right. A 137-foot-long wooden schooner known as the Barker sitting below just a shallow 24 feet of water. Many shipwrecks lie undiscovered for years, sitting under hundreds of feet of water. But this one was different.
When we pulled the boat over it, we could faintly see it from the surface. That's why I was surprised no one had come across it yet.
The Barker was built in 1867 and sank just 20 years later after bad weather caused the vessel to go off course. At the time, it was on its way to pick up iron ore from Escanaba, Michigan.
It was running light. It had no cargo, so it was sitting very high in the water, and it got blown over this shoal that's on the end of Spider Island.
Tamara Thompson of the Wisconsin Historical Society says discovering this long-lost vessel solves a mystery they've long wondered about. She believes there's enough artifacts left from the wreck to meet criteria for a listing on the National Register of Historic Places.
There's a lot of wreckage down there. It feels like there's like a football field of oak on the bottom, and the entire shipwreck is there, laid out on the bottom.
This isn't the first time Olson has discovered a shipwreck. He found two others in Lake Michigan, including the Gray Eagle and the Sunshine, both of which sank in 1869. Olson calls it his contribution to learning more about our past.
There's a lot of history around here in Door County and throughout the rest of the state. A lot of this stuff has kind of been forgotten about, a lot of these shipwrecks.
And with this discovery, it helps write another chapter of Wisconsin's rich maritime history. In Door County, Tony Langfellow, Fox 11 News.
A fascinating story. Thank you so much for joining us here on Wisconsin Weather Experts. We'll see you again tomorrow at the very same time.